it is night. Not tonight. 2,500 years ago, you are standing at the edge of a walled garden in the ancient Persian city of Pasargadae. The air is cool, not cold, just that perfect temperature where you stop noticing your body and simply exist. From somewhere inside the garden wall, the sound of water moving slowly through a stone channel, steady, quiet, continuous. The sound of water has been the sound of Persian evenings since the beginning of the empire. Tonight, we are going to spend a night in ancient Persia, not in its battles, not in its conquests, but in its gardens, its warmth, its extraordinary beauty. Welcome to Wonder Drift Stories. If these stories help you sleep, a like and a subscribe means everything to this small channel. New stories every week. Now, let us step through the gate. The word paradise comes from Persia, from the ancient Persian word pairidaeza, which means walled garden. That is all paradise ever was. Not a realm beyond death, not a place in the sky, a garden, walled, private, full of water and roses and shade, in a land that was mostly desert and mountain. The Achaemenid Empire, founded by Cyrus the Great around 550 BCE, stretched from the Aegean Sea in the west to the borders of India in the east. More than 40 different nations lived within it. More than 40 different languages were spoken across its roads. And yet, at the heart of Persian culture, wherever a Persian built a home or a palace or a city, they built a garden, because the garden was not decoration. It was philosophy. It was the Zoroastrian understanding of the world made visible. Order over chaos, beauty over harshness, water over dust, life over the desert. The garden of Cyrus the Great at Pasargadae is the oldest physical example of a paradise garden ever discovered. Stone water channels, geometric pathways, bridges, a large central pool fed by a sophisticated hydraulic system that diverted water from the nearby Polva River. Cyrus himself designed the garden and planted its trees with his own hands. A king who planted his own trees. That is the kind of people the Persians were. Let us walk through the garden now. It is divided into 4 quarters by stone water channels, a design that would spread from Persia across the entire world, becoming the template for every paradise garden ever built, from the gardens of Mughal India to the courtyards of Moorish Spain to the Persian Persian-inspired gardens of Renaissance Italy. It all began here, in this quiet, walled space in the Iranian plateau. The channels carry water with a soft, continuous sound, not rushing, not trickling, something between the two. The sound of water moving with purpose and calm. Down the center of each channel, carved stone lined with precision, the water is cool to the touch, almost cold. In a land where summer heat can be extraordinary, the sound of moving water alone is enough to lower the temperature of the air around you by several degrees. The Persians knew this. They engineered it. Water was not just beautiful to them. It was sacred, a sacred element in Zoroastrian belief, one of the 4 divine substances from which the world was made. Earth, water, air, fire, all 4 present in the Persian garden. The earth of the planted beds, the water of the channels, the night air moving through the cypress trees, and at the center of the garden, a small flame, an oil lamp on a carved stone base, burning steadily. The way fires have burned in Persian gardens for 2,500 years. The trees in this garden were chosen with great care. Cypress trees line the main pathways, tall and dark against the night sky, their shape like a flame pointing upward. Evergreen, never changing with the seasons, a symbol of immortality to the ancient Persians. Between the cypresses, pomegranate trees, their fruit still on the branches, heavy and dark red in the lamplight. The pomegranate was a symbol of prosperity and fertility in ancient Persia, its skin tough and protective, its interior an extraordinary abundance of seeds and sweetness. Further along the path, fruit trees of every kind, citrus, pistachio, almond. The Persians were among the first to cultivate pistachios as a garden tree. They called it the smiling nut, because of the way the shell opens with what looks like a small smile, and along the walls, roses, always roses. The Persians loved roses the way they loved water, as something sacred, as something that justified the existence of the evening. Their fragrance fills the air now, warm and complex, nothing sharp, nothing harsh, just the slow, beautiful weight of roses in the warm, dark air of a Persian night. Beyond the garden, the city. The homes of Pasargadae were built of sun-dried brick, their walls thick enough to stay cool in summer. Their courtyards open to the sky. Every home that could afford it had its own small garden, a private paradise in miniature. Even the humblest had a courtyard with a water jar and a vine trained along the wall. Because the garden was not a luxury in ancient Persia, it was a necessity, a statement of what life was for. Inside the larger homes, woolen carpets covered the floors. The Persians were extraordinary weavers. Their carpets, geometric patterns, fields of flowers, stylized animals, were among the most beautiful objects produced anywhere in the ancient world. To walk barefoot across a Persian carpet at the end of a long day was itself a kind of luxury. The softness of it, the warmth, the sense of something made with great care, specifically for the pleasure of the feet. Low cushions around the edges of the room, a lamp of oil casting warm light on the walls, the smell of food from earlier, pomegranate and lamb and the spices that came along the trade routes from the east, saffron, cinnamon. The Persians were among the first to use saffron as a spice, growing it in the fields of Fars and trading it across the empire. Its golden color in a dish, its faintly sweet and earthy smell, was the smell of Persian prosperity, of a civilization that had everything it needed. Music was playing earlier tonight at the house of a wealthy merchant near the palace precinct, a small gathering, not a grand feast, just friends, and a musician in the corner with a harp. The Persians played the harp, an instrument that had come to them through their contacts with the civilizations of Mesopotamia, and the barbat, a pear-shaped lute with a warm, resonant sound that would travel westward over centuries and eventually become the European lute. And then the guitar, the instrument you may have heard tonight somewhere, without knowing that its ancestor was being played in a Persian garden 2,500 years ago. The music has stopped now. The guests have gone home through the quiet streets. The lamps are being extinguished one by one. The city is settling into its nightly silence. Only the water in the channels continues, steady, patient, uninterrupted. Let us go back to the garden. It is very late now. The last of the evening warmth has settled into a cool quiet. The stars over Pasargadae are extraordinary. No city light, no haze, just the full darkness of the Iranian plateau, and above it, the Milky Way stretched from horizon to horizon like a river of pale fire. The ancient Persians knew these stars with great precision. The Magi, their priestly scholars, were among the finest astronomers of the ancient world. They tracked the movements of the planets. They calculated the positions of the stars. They understood the cycles of the sky with an accuracy that would influence astronomy for centuries to come. The word magic itself comes from the Magi, not because they performed tricks, but because their knowledge of the sky and the seasons seemed, to the outside world, like something beyond ordinary understanding. Standing in this garden tonight beneath this sky, it is easy to understand why they gave their lives to understanding it. The stars do not merely hang in the sky here. They move. They travel slowly across the darkness in great arcs, rising in the east, crossing the sky with great patience, setting in the west, one after another, all night, every night, a vast, slow machinery of light that the Persians watched and mapped and loved. There is something Cyrus the Great was known for above almost everything else. Not conquest, not power, mercy. When he took Babylon in 539 BCE, without a battle, the city opening its gates to him, he issued a decree that became one of the most remarkable documents of the ancient world. The Cyrus cylinder, a clay cylinder inscribed with the declaration that all peoples within his empire had the right to practice their own religions, return to their homelands if they had been displaced, and live according to their own customs. Some historians call it the first declaration of human rights. Cyrus built an empire of 40 nations not by erasing their differences, but by tolerating them. He understood something that many rulers of the ancient world did not, that people who are allowed to be themselves are people who thrive, and people who thrive build gardens, write poetry, make music, feed their families well, sleep soundly. The garden is very still now. The water moves in its channels. The cypress trees are dark columns against the stars. The roses have closed for the night, their petals folded inward around their fragrance, holding it until the morning when the warmth will open them again. The lamp at the center of the garden burns steadily. It will burn until dawn. Because the Persians kept their fires burning. Fire was sacred, the eternal flame, the presence of Ahura Mazda, the supreme deity of Zoroastrianism, the spirit of light and truth and goodness made visible in the world. As long as the flame burns, order continues. As long as the water flows, life continues. As long as the garden is tended, beauty continues. These were not merely beliefs to the ancient Persians. They were daily acts, daily choices, to tend the fire, to maintain the channels, to plant the trees, to let the roses grow, to build a walled garden in the middle of a desert and call it paradise, and then to rest in it. So rest now. Let the garden settle around you, the water moving in its stone channels, the cypresses standing guard, the stars turning slowly overhead, the roses holding their fragrance in the warm dark, the small flame at the center of everything, steady, patient, ancient. You are not so different from a person who lay down in a Persian garden 2,500 years ago. The same need for quiet, the same gratitude for the end of a long day, the same pleasure in a cool night after a warm one, the same stars, the same darkness, the same slow, grateful release. The water knows the way. It has always known the way. Through the stone channels, through the garden, through the night, let it carry you. Good night.